Backpack, 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 backpack. What's up, man? You know what I'm saying? You got your backpack. You ready? Everybody's good? You ready? Can you see at night? Can you see at night? Never know, man. Never know. You might be somewhere wandering. You can't see. Huh? Hey, these are dope, man. You know, I'm gonna get a bunch of these. It's a good brightness to it, as you can see. Now imagine that coming at night at you. You got your bow and arrow. You good to go. All right, man. Backpack. What's good? I want to start doing some drop with somebody I've been, researching. They got their wilderness drop on deck. This cat's been out for a minute, drop and drop. Get them babies out the bath water. I believe it's Arthur Scott, man, that also has the drop on this. Forgive me if I'm wrong. For somebody else that's kicking the survival drop, we gotta start kicking our survival drop. We're kicking all this stuff about Egypt and Emerald tablets and Moorish treaties and what else we kicking? The Mazaka. We kicking. Prisoners of war and Geneva Conventions and Dumb Diverses, and now we got to get to the survival drop. I recommend these books. I got this one. This one was like, it's like a deal to get it. So I'm glad I got it because I'm gonna start with this one because they got everything this got, but this got a little more tuning to it. But this got a lot of drop. So both of these are cool. This is from Dave Canterbury. He is co-owner, supervising instructor at Pathfinder School in Ohio, named USA Today as one of the top 12 survival schools in the United States. His YouTube channel has over 250,000 subscribers. All that. So subscribe to, Dave Canterbury for the drop. And honestly, like they said, rated number, in USA Today as one of the top 12 survival schools. So he ain't play when it comes to survival school, survival drop, how to get down, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, we're good. We in the basement. We're in the wilderness. No matter where we are, we can see at night. We good. So I want to start kicking this periodically, and I want to kind of just start real simple because, well, one, let me show you the difference between, I guess, this version and the advanced version. If you do decide to invest in this, it's just good to have, or something like it, but it organizes everything pretty simple for you. Chapter 1, your pack. Chapter 2, you got your tools. One fast difference I picked up right away was this one has, number 1, chapter 1, your pack, the 5 C's, right? You see the 5 C's, number 1, right? And this one has the 10 C's, number 2, right? 10 C's for survivability. So clearly other things were added to this, whatever the case is. I'm sure those 5 C's will get you there. But yeah, that's just one little joint. So I'm just gonna start off, and then we're gonna drop a couple YouTube videos and some clips from Dave Canterbury's site. And again, we're going to kind of take it one by one. So let's start today. This joint is called Building Your Kit, the pack. All right, so we want to plan the scope of your trip. All right, if it's a long time, you want to plan for it. 10 C's of survivability. Then we're going to hit the core, temperature control, some stuff on tools, comfort, convenience. We'll try to get through all that today. Most of what chapter 1 is. All right. I don't know if there's any PDFs on this, but somebody can find that dope. You see chapter 2 is already banging, man. Natural resources. So you're going to have to know what's popping, what's pop-locking, what all that. What I'm going to do, I want to get right into this video, and then we'll drop some stuff out the book. Matter of fact, I'll drop like the first paragraph from part 1, and then we'll go right into the video, and then pick up a little bit and skim through, see if we can get some jewels out right quick. All right, building your kit. The doctorate in Woodsy knowledge can only be taught by Mother Nature in the classroom of the outdoors. Many can train, but you can only experience. Only experience can teach you. So all we're trying to do is train up, but only experience is going to really teach us how to get there. You know what I'm saying? So, some of the stuff that, if you guys live near woods, I know us, Shalak lives around a lot of woods. You can try this stuff out, learn how to make your fires, learn, different methods of packing, and stuff that it's really about simplicity. You can go buy the most expensive stuff, right? But it's all about simplicity. You know what I'm saying? So do your thing, get your pack, get game tight, get ready. It says bushcraft is the practice. Bushcraft. So you know where they got it from. So, you know what I'm saying? You might be like, man, what's this white man got to teach me about the woods? Everything. White men know about the woods. White men know about the woods, but you don't know about the woods. How the white man get to know about the woods, but you don't know about the woods? Oh, you was taken and put in captivity and put in man-made cities, right? So now white man got to teach you how to survive in your woods, and that's just how this game works, man. So deal with it. Bushcraft is the practice of using wilderness skills to survive and thrive in the natural world. In advanced bushcraft, you will hone those skills and push beyond the mentality of immediate needs. You will learn to think about the totality of your skills and supplies and how they work together to ensure long-term sustainability. In other words, it's not just about packing resources. It's about thinking ahead to the kinds of skills it takes to refurbish your resources or create more if necessary. So you know what I'm saying? You got to be able to create more resources on the fly. I mean, that's really the key. A real bushman, you know what I'm saying? Bushman can take a couple things with him and make everything on the go. So that's really the key. It's not about buying a bunch of stuff from, sports stores and stuff like that. It's really about knowing how to be resourceful. So most of this drop, I'm really going to try to cater towards resourcefulness. You know what I'm saying? Not so much buy this, buy this, buy this, buy that. You know what I'm saying? So let's just hit those 10 C's up right quick. The 10 C's of survivability. Get that. All right. Those are your 10 C's. Go ahead and check it out. Copy that. Whatever you got to do. Cutting tools, knives, axes, saws. All right. This will be better if I show you a couple things. I don't got all this. I haven't really added to this since last time I've shown it, but I've showed some things that I got a long time. Alright, here we go. Just want to make sure I have everything in here that I do have. I think I got enough. Things got so many compartments. It's a cool bag, man. The North Face joint. I don't know what it's going for now. I got the hookup on it, man. Tell you the truth. But check it out. Check it out. All right, so we'll grab what we grab. We got what we got. So let's go over 10 C's. Here we go. Cutting tools, knives, axes, saws. So I do have something like it. Knives, axes, saws, typical camp axe, something to help you chop your wood down, whatever the case is. This is a Coughlin's axe. And this is real basic stuff. I mean, I know some of y'all got some real dope stuff. All right, so of course, if you got some doper stuff, you got some doper stuff. But here's just some basic stuff. Cutting tools, switchblade situation. This is a buck joint, you know what I mean? Buck joint. I showed it before though, but you get you something like that, switchblade, it's all good. Of course, there's bigger blades. Don't everybody start making videos showing how big their blades are. I mean, come on. Alright, so we got the cutting tools. That's number one. Alright, cutting tools. Number two, combustion devices. Alright, so your lighters, your magnifying lenses, all that stuff. It says ferrocerium. 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 I'm sure that's some type of maybe fabric type of situation. Alright. Number three, cover elements, seasonal clothing with outwear, tarps, wool blanket, sleeping bag, emergency bivy, hammock, small tent. So you got your tent, you got your hammock, you know what I'm saying? You got your clothes, just the stuff that kind of makes sense for those cold nights. Containers, water bottles, canteens, nesting cooking pots, pans. That's what I need to get next, is some really good cooking utensils and stuff like that. Check out Smiles, man. Madison Smiles. She got the drop inside my backpack 1 and 2. She will show you what she has. She got a lot more than I do, but she'll show you a lot of that, how much it costs, a lot of that stuff. We waiting for number 3. I know she got some more drop. Cordage, blank line, paracord, rope, webbing, mule tape. So that's very important. You'll see why as we go ahead with the survival drop. Cotton materials, bandanas, netting, cloth shards. Number 6, cargo tape, duct tape. I prefer the Gorilla Tape brand. So you need some duct tape. Number 8, candling devices, headlamps, candles, crate lights, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So light is very important. Light is very important. This joint is alright. It's a Helix base camp light. It's just an example of something that you want in your tent. Alright, of course, number 9, right on point, compasses. Your preferred brand along with the small backup, like a quality button style. This is a real basic compass. You can get something doper than this, right? This joint is alright because it can, do the magnifying joint. So you got the magnifying with the actual compass situation. Alright. And number 10, canvas repair needle, wedge style needle for repairing heavy materials. Alright, it says do not forget to include any medications, including something to relieve an allergic reaction. So you already know if you got allergies to certain things, but you don't know what all you might be exposed to, right? So make sure you got something to relieve an allergic reaction that you might have. First aid kits are very important. All right, so we're gonna break it down. Let's just jump right into it, and then we'll jump right back. All right, what page are we at? 17, so I know where to come back to. Cool. And of course, man, you can't forget, your neighborhood friendly whistle. This is supposed to get on the nerves of most big animals or whatever the case. Guess they don't like that. I don't know. Maybe a bear be trying to get you, but they say, "Oh, hell, man, I don't like that." All right. Make sure no bears crept up on me, while I was getting my floss on. All right, so let's do it. Again, you can survive to Dave Canterbury's page, Wilderness Outfitters. Wilderness Outfitters. Outfitters. All right. Sorry, them days you don't really feel like talking. Yeah. Doing too much drop. Been yelling at people. Y'all think it's not 99% of the drop. It's face to face or person to person. I'm just yelling at people I know all day. And then I say, all right, let me go yell at some more people. So the drop don't stop. Y'all might think the drop is stopping, but the drop don't stop. And we do keep it hot. When the drop, it's always going to be hot. Like it or not. Alright. Here we go. Alright. Learn from this man. He knows your secrets. He knows your butchcraft. Who wants to learn it again? So he's going to go over some of this packing. He's going to first start off with this basket type of pack, which is dope. A good idea if you're carrying a lot of stuff, especially traps and different things that you might need for hunting. You might just have it on the side just to go hunting with, just to keep extra stuff with you. Always a good idea. Let's go.
Name into what's considered the Adirondack pack basket of the late 19th century, early 20th century. This is an antique pack. Morning guys, Dave Cadbury at the Pathfinder School. I wanted to have a quick discussion today about packing your gear. Lots of videos on the internet about this gear or that gear to carry, this EDC or that EC, 10-piece kit, what do I carry into the woods, but there's very few videos on how do I carry it into the woods, okay, and I think that that's pretty important. And a lot of you guys know that I'm pretty fond of 5-gallon buckets, trash cans, things of that nature. And, you know, the 5-gallon bucket, the trash can, very reminiscent of the pack basket. Pack baskets have been used for a couple of hundred years. Burden baskets were used by Native Americans long before, you know, European contact and long before Europeans.
I didn't mean to do that, but, you know, y'all heard that, right? So I just finished telling you.
Cadbury at the Pathfinder School. I wanted to have a quick discussion today on your gear. Lots of videos of that EC, 10-piece kit, what do I carry into the woods. And a lot of you guys know that I'm pretty fond of
Let's get this one more time.
5-gallon buckets, trash cans, things of that nature. And, you know, the 5-gallon bucket, the trash can, very reminiscent of the pack basket. Pack baskets have been used for a couple of hundred years. Burden baskets were used by Native Americans long before, you know, European contact and long before Europeans.
Okay, so I just wanted to get that back long before European contact. So what he's teaching you is only what he's learned from you. But I'm glad he admits it. He's not saying, oh, I learned it from Negroes, but he is saying I learned this from Negro. He's thinking about Native Americans. You know, he might not understand that connection yet. But that's all neither here nor there. He's doing his thing. He got 200,000 subscribers. Teaching people your sciences, your way of life. So, it's time to activate and regain and restart.
Decided to turn them into what's considered the Adirondack pack basket of the late 19th century, early 20th century. This is an antique pack basket. It was given to me by a friend, and it's very reminiscent of the old trapper's trap basket. Put your traps in, carry it on your back. And the good thing about a system like this is it gives you a large bucket, which again, I've always been very fond of bucket type packs where you can just put everything into one container, and it's not hard to find that way. You can modularize it in pouches and things like that if you want to, but it makes it easier to find your gear. So pack baskets like this have been very popular, especially in the upper New England states since, you know, the 19th century. The other option that you have that we've talked about a lot of times is the Alice pack frame. Alice pack frames can be modularized. I've got videos on that on the web. You can attach packs to them directly, or you can attach a 5-gallon bucket to this with bungee cords or whatever the case may be. If you put the radio shelf on the bottom of this thing, it becomes a little more conducive to being a external frame pack basket type situation. You could strap a trash can to this as well. The only thing that I'm not real fond of with the Alice pack frame is the size. The size of this frame is not very conducive to doing or packing your things in fashions where you have more stuff than just one small item. You can put one 5-gallon bucket on this. That's about all you're going to get on here. Now, companies like Cabela's, Bass Pro Shops, things like that, have larger pack frames, external frames that are made for carrying game and things like that. And those Alaskan type frames are very much conducive to turning into very good pack accoutrements, because you can either strap containers to them, put your pack on them, then take your pack off and carry other things. And that's the big advantage to an external frame pack like this, like the Alice Pack frame is, that you now have something you can strap a 5-gallon bucket to, a 5-gallon water can to, strap firewood to, strap game to, a carcass, things like that that you're carrying out of the woods, or carrying around firewood back to camp, things like that can all be used by using this frame without the pack on it. Now, what I want to show you today is I want to show you a little bit different modular design, and I experiment and test a lot of things. This pack frame is not what I would call common man. That's not to say that you couldn't make a frame like this from common man materials, but this frame was sent to me by a company called Bull Pack, and Bull Pack being named after the fact that it was made for carrying bull elk out of the woods, okay? And it's basically just a frame. They do have a pack that goes with it. It's made in Idaho. I want to show you that right now. It's on my back, and I want to show you how I've modularized this system to work in the woods. So basically what you have here is you have a large pack frame that's made out of a heavy tubular material, almost like an aircraft aluminum, that has a complete harness system built into it for a very nice padded waist strap, heavy duty padded shoulder pads, and it's just a heavy duty bulletproof frame that's got tie-off points on the sides in 3 different places. It has a built-in shelf on the bottom of it. And the thing I like about this frame, not necessarily the price, but what I like about this frame itself is that it's long enough that you can actually put something on the bottom on the shelf and then put a full-size garbage can on top of it. You still have room above it, above where the frame is. So what I've done with this one is very simple. I've taken a dry bag. This would happen to be a Pathfinder dry bag. Could have been Sea Line, anything like that. And I have put my sleeping bag, my black Arctic bag from the MMS system, and my Gore-Tex bivy into a dry bag, put it on the bottom shelf, put the garbage can on top of that, just strapped it with a couple strap ties to the top of the shelf where there's a couple of indentions for an Alice Pack. And then I have strapped it on there with just cheapo bungee cords like you'd use on a truck. And then one bungee cord on the bottom to hold this in place. I can take these off in a matter of seconds, take this whole thing off. I have another container here. I do have a hole drilled in the bottom of this for drainage, but I can plug that with a rubber plug that you can buy at any hardware store. So I have a container that is waterproof for collecting water if needs be, or I can pull that plug like I have it now so that it will drain water in inclement weather. And then the only thing I've done is I've taken 2 more dry bags and put them inside. One dry bag has my sheltering kit. The other dry bag has basically my 10Cs in it, minus my cutting tool knife. It has a spare cutting tool, a multi-tool, and a Baco Laplander saw. I'm not going to go through the exact...
That's impressive, because I was like, if it's open, what if it rains, right? But he has dry bags, so you keep stuff dry in these bags. And then the dude put holes in the bottom of the frame, so you can research all the stuff he's bringing out. I'm just going to give you that drop, so you can go just get whatever. If you want to go camping, or you know, you can you know, really get down with the get down.
Components of this kit right now, because that's not what this video is about. It's about the carrying of your kit. And then at the bottom I just have one of those military style butt packs. So when I'm at camp, I can throw whatever I need to in this butt pack, throw it over my shoulder, as you see me doing other videos, or around my waist, and head off on a short scout. And I can leave this frame back at camp, or I can take all this stuff off this frame with 2 straps and a small bungee. Can take this stuff off of this frame, and I can use the frame for carrying other things like firewood or what have you. And I have the bucket as well, so I have another container. So really what I've done here is I've got dry bag container, trash can container, 2 dry bag container. I've added to the fact that I have lots of containers with me to hold water or hold things in a waterproof nature. Plus, I've set this up on a pack frame so that now I have the best of all worlds. I have an external frame that is multifunctional. I have a pack basket that's made out of ABS plastic. This is a Rubbermaid, so it's not going to get destroyed very easy. And I have it modularized so that I can pull the shelter system out or my emergency gear out just with one draw. Boom, I'm done. This is my kit. Okay, this is my shelter. And my sleep system is on the bottom. It's very modularized, very compact, but very conducive to stuffing a lot of other things in if I need to. If I want to use this to go out and collect firewood, sticks, and whatnot, all I got to do is take these two things out, leave them at camp, and go. Fill this thing up with tinder and kindling, go back to camp and get ready to start my fire. So this is a very, very good system. Now, the bull pack frame, very uncommon, man. The thing's like $200. It's like 175 or 185 bucks. But with that, I've talked to the company owner, and she tells me that she's never had one of these things returned, and that they're used all over the world. So maybe it's worth the $200. A lot of people pay $200 just for a pack. So if I can get something like this for $200 and add a trash can to it that costs me $5 or $6 and a couple bungee cords, I'm pretty happy with that. Because if I'm willing to pay $200 for a pack, I'm willing to pay.
And that's the point. The backpack I just showed you, you know, you can easily find it for dang near $200. You can find it for like $160, something like that. So you can get something conventional, or you can do both. You know what I'm saying? But if you're gonna spend $200 anyway on a carrying system, you can get really multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? Now he's on another level, right? So he might be talking yin yang to most of us, but it's okay because we're just beginning. But we're also remembering. You're not learning this, guys, family, kings and queens. You're not learning this. You are remembering yourself.
$200 for something that is equal to or better than a pack by easily modifying it or attaching my pack to it. Like I said, this one is made for an Alice pack. So you could put a medium Alice pack on this frame and again have the best of both worlds. If you put your trash can in your Alice pack, like we've done in other videos, then you have, you know, it's basically the triple threat at that point. You got the trifecta. You've got a pack on the outside, you've got a hard...
But as dope as this is really all you need. I mean, this is the Native American thing, right? This is the indigenous thing, right? So this comes from this. This is like a souped up militarized version of this. But this has the same result, right? You put this on your back, you collect your firewood the same way. You put your stuff in it. It might not be as, indestructible, waterproof, and, but hey, you did it, you know how to do it.
Plastic ABS on the inside, and you have an external pack frame. Now you're going to run into about the $250 range once you get done with that. But to pay $250 for a bulletproof, bomb-proof pack system, that's cheap money in this day and age. It really is. So I wanted to kind of show you guys this system today because it's something I've been working with and I've been walking around and using a little bit. You can see this is kind of beat up, but this system is going to work out fine for a longer term situation. This is not your one day, emergency kit right here. I've got the stuff in here I need to go out there and stay other than my firearm, and a few traps. And I've got plenty of room in this pack basket to throw a few conibears or body grip traps in the bottom of this thing and a snare kit, what have you. Slide a fishing kit down in there, a sling bow, whatever the case may be. Carry my rifle, my sidearm, my haversack, and I'm ready to rock and roll. Again, I could switch this out for a wool blanket. Warmer weather, when it's not going to be below zero outside, I'd probably put a wool blanket in here. It would take up the same amount of room as this MMS system. I never used a green bag with my MMS. I never have. I always used the black bag and the bivvy and nothing else. I've slept in that in -9, -10 degree weather with just a pad on the ground, and I've never been cold. So the green bag is just more that I don't really need unless I'm going to be in real subarctic conditions. I only carry the black and the bivvy. They're both in here right now, along with a pillowcase. Nesbitt always said he carried a pillowcase. You can stuff your clothes in it at night, whatever the case may be, to make yourself a pillow. But a pillow is a must, so just carry the pillowcase. Again, you've got a cloth sack at that point. You can carry other things in. So I wanted to go over this with you today and talk a little bit about pack systems, because that's one of the overlooked things I believe in videos nowadays. Everybody talks about what they carry, but they don't really talk too much about how they carry it. So I wanted to kind of go over this with you. If I had, the option of a sled, four-wheeler, horse, whatever the case may be, then I might not have to worry about this so much, but I'd probably throw this in the bottom of a sled anyway, or in the back of a four-wheeler, just to have the convenience that this offers. But I might not have to carry it on my back at that point. It's not very heavy. This entire kit probably, if I had to guess, I'd say weighs right at 30 pounds or less for sure. And that's, like I said, everything in there that I would need for a week or more, no problem, except the firearm and the ammunition. All right, guys, well, I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I appreciate you joining for this short video on, what to carry your kit in, or how I am experimenting with carrying kit. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your comments and everything that you do for me, for my school, for my family, for my instructors, all the way down the line. We at the Pathfinder School, thank you for everything. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can, guys.
All right. So, what did we learn? Hope we took some notes. And get to it. And there's another quick video we're going to drop. Well, let's get to it. So, core temperature control. This is the first and most important kit category. Clothing is the most basic way to control temperature. Here are some more specific guidelines. You know, control your temperature. How do you control your temperature? You worried about being hot or cold? Clothing is big. Now, of course, how much can you carry, right? So it's not about just so many layers, but clothing, it says pack at least 2 full sets of socks and undergarments, trousers, and shirts. Carry clothing that is comfortable in all seasons, or be prepared to pack enough clothing for 2 different climates. For a total of 4 sets, I will recommend 10 to 12 ounce durable canvas pants, like the tree climbing pants offered by Arborwear. Long sleeve, lightweight canvas button-down shirts are comfortable in all seasons, and cotton t-shirts take advantage of evaporating cooling in the summer. Do not forget to plan for rain and wet weather. Tintsmiths make a solid raincoat from cotton treatment with an oil wax finish. In winter, use a heavy wool layer that will act as insulation, such as a merino wool pants offered by -33. In general, nothing beats wool in cold weather climates. It is comfortable, fire retardant, repels moisture, and even when it is wet, it still acts as a good insulation. I prefer the Boreal shirt. I'll show you this so you can see it. Boreal shirt by Lester River Bushcraft. It has never let me down, even the coldest of winter nights and days here in the eastern woodlands. If freezing rain and sleet are an issue, combine the wool with an oilcloth raincoat. That's what it says about clothing. Go ahead and dig on it. Okay, so we're going to keep jumping to it. Footwear. Leather boots are an absolute must for long-term wilderness activities. The Pronghorn from Danner is a great 3-season boot, and their Canadian models work well in the winter. When choosing your footwear, remember that boots are only as waterproof as they are high. My shoes are waterproof, we'll make sure they're very high. Carrying a second pair of boots will save a lot of trouble on long-term trips, so you can alternate and avoid wearing them out too quickly. If carrying a second pair is cumbersome, at least plan to bring a pair of moccasins to wear when walking around camp, so you can give your boots an occasional rest. Moccasins, elk hide, or buffalo are handy when stalking game in dry leaves. Alright, moccasins, elk hide, or buffalo are also handy when stalking game in dry leaves. You got the drop. Alright, all this, it might be one thing you get, but that might save your ass, man, or help you catch your food. Alright, so that's footwear. Hat. Never underestimate the importance of hats when planning for your kit. A good hat will protect you from the sun and conserve body heat, most of which is released through the head and the neck. A felted, wide brim hat works well in spring, summer, and fall. A wood beanie or toboggan will help combat the cold in winter. In the most severe weather, I have found great comfort in the old leather bomber caps with ear flaps and fur lining. So, get those bomber joints, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they call them now, toonies and whatever that is. Scarves. Handkerchiefs and scarves have been a staple of the Woodman kit for hundreds of years. Their uses go well beyond the obvious. The cotton netting used as a sniper veil works very well in the summer and makes a great improvised net for fishing. Handkerchiefs made from cotton, like the shemag, are effective across 3 seasons. In winter, I prefer 4x4 scarf, which not only keeps me warm, but also can be used as a cape to repel snow. Okay. Lastly, gloves and mittens. A sturdy pair of leather calfskin gloves will protect the hands from briars, brambles, and blisters when doing normal camp chores. You know what I mean? I just got these joints here. These are from Craftsman, but you know, I'm sure you can get some dope, super dope gloves. In winter, Arctic mittens with wool glove liners are indispensable. So that wool glove liner, you know, these might not be good for the cold because of, you know, the material, right? But you get you a nice, you know, wool liner with them gloves, you all right. It's indispensable. I have found that to stay comfortable for a full day on the trail or trap line, keeping my extremities warm is just as important as conserving heat in my core. So I'll let you get that page. All right. Some hats and scarves. Okay. And one more before we get this, one more video clip. Okay, that's good, because after that we go into tools. Yeah, so we'll go into tools. I'll let him go into most of it, but I'll let you kind of get some of this right here. Checklist of 5 most important tools. Number 1, a knife. Number 2, an axe. Number 3, a saw. Number 4, a carving tool. And number 5, an awl. AWL. Alright. What is an awl? In the trade ledger from the American frontier days, the awl, AWL, was one of the most traded metal items, second only to the knife. Awls are designed to punch holes in materials such as leather, bark, and wood. We're going to see a picture of that. There are many different types of awls, but the crooked awl is the most versatile. These tools are two-sided with 3 or 4 sides to each point. The tapper of the awl is usually a little different on opposing ends so that you have some versatility when drilling holes. You can easily fashion a handle for one end of this tool if needed, or add a hole for lock, stitch, sewing task. Alright, so I just wanted to get what an awl is. Let's look it up, and then we'll catch maybe 1 or 2 small drops here from our man in the wilderness, man. I mean, hey, hope everybody's learning something. We'll try to do these as often as possible. Awl. Y'all want to know what an awl is? All right, here's some pictures of it. It's kind of what you thought. Something to poke holes with, basically. You know what I'm saying? Oh, come on. Okay. All right. So let's see. I want to get pack weight theory. Travel kit. Let's get this my travel kit, and I'm going to see if he has something specific on tools right after this. Alright. So let's get this my travel kit. Again, subscribe to Wilderness Outfitters. Wilderness Outfitters.
So we go through the kit that I carry most of the time with me. I'm going to generalize, although I will talk about the name brands of some of these things, not necessarily as an endorsement, but just so you know what I am carrying. The other thing that I didn't want to do is I didn't want to put old videos back up on the web, because as you spend more time in the dirt, as you spend more time and more days out in the woods, your kit develops. And I don't want to put a video on there from 2 years ago where my kit has developed from that, and you think that's, you know, what I think is right, when maybe now I think something different is right. So I don't want to do that to you either. So what I thought I'd do is I'd bring the kit out here that I generally carry with me most of the time for the environment that I'm in right now. All of your kit's going to change environmentally depending on where you go. Right now it's wintertime in southeast Ohio. And if it was a wintertime environment anywhere in the Midwest, this would be the kit that I would be most likely to take, and I'm going to explain those items to you right now. First of all, you have to think about your tools. When I think about things, I always go through the 5 C's, and those are the bases I cover first. And then beyond that are what I consider luxury items or other items that I have for comfort level, encouragement for myself. And so with cutting tools, it depends on the environment that you're in, again, and the weather. A folding saw is a very good option. The Bahco Laplander is the one that I've always carried, and I've got one in this pack I'll pull out in a minute. But you have to think about cold weather and the amount of motor dexterity it takes to do things, whether it be swing an axe or cut with a saw. If I'm going to try to baton wood in a cold weather environment, that becomes kind of a pain in the butt to me. I'd almost rather have an axe that I can split wood with, and for that I would carry, a Wetterlings or Gransfors Brooks hunting axe like this one. As far as knives go, sometimes the best knife that you have is the knife that you have, and that's just the way it is. There's not one better than any other. As far as knives go, I would trust my life to a blind horse knife no matter what. This knife is not a Pathfinder knife. This is the Pathfinder Bushcraft knife, and in conjunction with an axe or a saw, I think it's a very good option. If I weren't going to have the axe or the saw and it was a one-tool option for me, I probably would go with the Pathfinder Logo Series Pathfinder 1 knife or the new Pathfinder Scout that has not been released yet, that's a little bit bigger than the Pathfinder knife original. There's also a Pathfinder 2 knife out there that's about the size of this Bushcrafter, but a little different blade profile. So this has a ferro rod attached to it, and there will be some redundancy in this kit because 2 is 1 and 1 is none. So looking at this pack and trying to stay with the common man theme, I try to keep as much of my kit items as I can very common man related, but some things, I think are worth spending money on. When it comes to something that you're going to trust your life with that will replace everything else you have, like a knife or an axe, I think you spend the money on those. When it comes to things that you can replace in nature, like shelter and containers and things of that nature, then I think maybe you can skimp a little bit or experiment with cheaper items and see how they work out for you. In this case, I have a Swedish military mountain pack here, and these are like 2 for $25 on places like Cheaper Than Dirt. It's a waterproof pack. It's bomb-proof. It's got a leather bottom in it. It's got leather straps on it. Basically, it's a very common man price pack, and like I said, it's bulletproof. It's fully rubberized, so it's absolutely waterproof. 1 outside pocket, 1 large bucket. I'm not searching around for things. I pretty much know where they're at. I've only got 2 places to have them, one or the other, and it's easy to find them that way. So I'm going to start with this outside pocket here, and this has all got leather straps and steel buckles on it as well, which I really like about that because sometimes with plastic buckles they tend to break, and web type strapping tends to wear out. This stuff's probably going to last you for a lifetime, and that's what kit building is all about, buying things that will last forever in the end. I have 1 cook pot in this kit, and this is an MSR cook pot. They're about $20. But with this, it gives me redundancy in container, but also gives me a secondary boiling and cooking device. It gives me something that I can collect things and hold things in, anything from fishing bait to wild edibles if I need to. And then it gives me a container that I can put things in to keep them safe as well. And in here, I keep basically just my fire kit. And I have some cloth in here, 100% cotton cloth I can make char with. I have some triple aught steel wool. I do have a Strike Force. And on that Strike Force, I also have a lighter, and then a couple wet fire gels, and just a generic type CRKT spork. And it's small enough to fit in there, so that's why I carry that one. Doesn't weigh a whole lot. I think it's made out of titanium. So these work really well. And this setup has done really good for me. I can also make char cloth in here if I want to. Very multi-purpose item. Takes up a little bit of room in the pack, but for me it's a luxury that's worth it. The other thing I keep in this pouch is just a small bag that has tools in it, basically, more than anything else. And it's some of it's redundant, as I said, but most of it is not. I do have a small hank of paracord in here, although I don't rely on paracord most of the time, except for quickie shelter building. I'll use bank line. I'll show you in a minute. And then also inside here, I have a couple of other items. I have a sharpening tool that's basically made by Lansky's, and it's a diamond rod. I can use that to hone the edge on my knife or my axe if I need to, instead of having to carry a stone. I have 1 military grade or repelling grade locking carabiner here. This is not a cheap carabiner by any means, but if I have to trust my life to something hanging onto it, or I want to hang my equipment off something, I want something that's going to be good and sturdy, so I use that. Then I have a pin here that I got off something. I don't remember where I got it, but it works really well for a blanket pin if I need it, or just a pin to pin something up on my clothes or whatever. It's just a spare item that I use and I keep in here because it doesn't weigh anything, and it can be used for a lot of multi-purpose items. It can be used for a digging instrument to get things out of your skin. It can be used to punch holes. You name it, you know, I can use it for a lot of things. So it's good to carry. And then I carry a small pair of vice grips in here with an eye bolt screwed into the bottom instead of the screw eye. And I can use that for basically a third hand option, like a multi-tool, but it will lock, and I can also hang paracord off of it so that I can actually hang things with it and hold on to them. So those items don't weigh a whole lot, and they fit in this small bag pretty easy. And then I have them if I need them. And these are mostly luxury items that I wouldn't consider a 10-piece emergency kit type item, but just something that I like to carry with me. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and it gives me a lot of options when I'm in the woods traveling. So that just brings us to our big pocket. And I will tell you, I know somebody's going to ask me what the weight of this kit is. When you see what's inside here, you'll understand why I say this, but the pack is probably one of the most weighty things in this kit, next to the axe. And this pack, fully loaded, probably weighs way less than 20 pounds, way less. Probably more like about 12 to 15 pounds, fully loaded without the axe. You'll find that when you start spending a lot of time in the dirt, one of the most important things that you can come up with is a good night's sleep. And the wool blanket type options and things like that are good if you're going to spend the night in the woods. But when you start spending a week out there, a good night's sleep becomes more important than almost anything else, because you can recreate a lot of things. You can't recreate recuperation of your body and sleep. And you can't recreate protecting your body's core temperature. So what I carry in here doesn't take up a whole lot of room. I have one Sea-Line dry bag in here, which you've seen in my 10-piece emergency kit video. And it has a few items in it as well. I put a saw in here today so that I can show you guys the saw option if I weren't going to carry an axe. Okay, also in this bag I've got a roll of heavy test bank line. And I tend to carry this for my cordage needs more than I carry paracord. I feel it's more versatile and better for a lot of things, especially for trapping and fishing needs. Derek Ferry did a very good video on my channel, I believe it was, about the comparison between paracord and bank line. If it's not on my channel, it's on his. And his name is Derek Ferry again. He's one of my instructors at the Pathfinder School, and this is just a really good cordage to use. It's very versatile, so that's what I carry instead of mass amounts of paracord. I think there's 300 feet of cordage on that roll. I have a headlamp, same headlamp I've been carrying for a couple years, Petzl Tactica. It's got multi settings on it for brightness, plus it has flashing for signal. And then the last thing I have in this bag is a pair of gloves, work gloves, and a compass, Silva Ranger. It's the same compass I've shown in a lot of videos, and the main reason that I carry that compass is because it does have the split in the mirror so that I can use it for a signaling device as well. Other than that, you know, any good compass will do you. All of these things are a matter of personal option. They're not, one thing's not better than another necessarily. Whatever works for you is what's best. I'm just going over what I carry for you because people have shown interest. Then this bag is now empty, but it serves a purpose as a third container. It's also waterproof, so I can carry water in it. If I were a long way from a water source, I could carry probably 4 liters of water in this easy enough, although it's a 5-liter bag, roll it down, and carry it to my camp location, and I wouldn't have to go to the water hole near as many times. I have just a cheap water bottle in here. This is, you know, probably a $10 water bottle, if that. You can see it's been beat absolutely to death. It's got dents all over it, and it still works great. In combination with this, it's the perfect cook setup for me. Now, the only other 2 things that are in this bag that take up the bulk of the room, this is an MMS sleeping bag, the black inner bag from a military sleep system. It's the Arctic bag that goes down to, you know, close to 0 degrees. In combination with the other bags by itself, it's probably good to 20 degrees. I do have in the bottom stuffed in here, I have a Silnai, a nylon silicone impregnated bivy bag that goes over the top of it that's very light, so I don't add too much weight with the Gore-Tex, and that gives me a good night's sleep as long as I've got a cushion of leaves that I can put up and make for a mattress. And then I have in this bag a 7x7 trail tarp, 4 stakes, and 4 bungee cords to set up a quickie shelter if I need to. And then beyond that, this pack is empty. So the majority of the room in this pack is taken up by my sleep and shelter system. And like I said before, there's a lot to be said for a good night's sleep when you're spending any amount of time in the woods as far as days and days go. One night you can get away with a lot, but you can always go back to your house and get some sleep the next day. If you're going to be out there 4 or 5 days draining energy, you need something where you can get yourself a good night's sleep, and that will do it for you. It does it for me. So, like I said, kit development is all about what works for you or what works best for you, not necessarily what works best for me. These are the items that I carry the majority of the time as a baseline kit in this type of environment. The only thing that would change from this would be tools and my exact sleep system. Everything else that's in this kit is carried with me almost all the time. No matter where I go in the world, I carry this kit. And the only thing that changes, like I said, is the sleep system I use depending on environment and the tools that I use depending on environment. So I hope you enjoyed this video today. I'm going to try to load this thing up in a little higher definition for you so you can see it a little bit better. It'll take me a while to get it on the internet. I'm Dave Canterbury from the Pathfinder School LLC, and I thank you very much for your support, and I'm glad to be back on YouTube.
Beautiful thing, beautiful thing, beautiful thing. Don't forget, man, you might need a hammer to go up against somebody's mug bone, man. Never know. Who knows? Who knows? All right, so let's get it. Let's get it. All right, so he talked about some sleeping systems, obviously sleeping bags, tents, but he has some really good options, you know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to give you the options that's kind of off-grid type options, you know what I'm saying? Not like your everyday camping solutions, but something from somebody that does this, you know what I'm saying? And this is the guy I had to search for. I mean, there's a bunch of people that do it, but this guy does it, you know what I'm saying? So we can definitely learn on this channel. So we got comfort. We're talking about how we're living, how we're sleeping. So, along with the tents, you also got hammocks, right? You can sleep in a hammock. Hammocks afford many advantages, even for use in a long-term shelter, and gives a very comfortable night's sleep. They have been commonly used by woodsmen since the 1800s. Older versions were fashioned from balloon silk, rope netting, or canvas. Balloon silk is not that different in consistency and weight to the parachute type material used to make a hammock today and whatnot. So you got the hammocks, you got tents, of course. Small packing tents, backpacking style tents provide comfort and security from bugs and other wigglers. The downside is that their construction restricts your view and eliminates the ability to use fire as a heat source. So you got to think about these things. All right. So, if you want to use fire as a heat source at night, you can't put fire inside your tent. Right. So, then you got your hammocks and you got other things too. Or you can do the fire outside and use a different heat source inside. I mean, there's other things, But these are things to think about. There's also a trade-off with any piece of gear. There are lots of different types of tents on the market, but I would suggest selecting one that is made of the heaviest material you feel comfortable carrying. You will appreciate the durability. So, I got a little cheapy little tent. The material is not really heavy, but, if you're going to get one, if you can carry a heavier version, then do that. All right, you also got bivvies. Bivvies is usually a small tube style bag that is made for a single person and can be set up very quickly. The same rules apply to bivvies as to tents. Look for durable materials with mesh and a closable rain flap to help prevent condensation. All right, you got tent cots. Tent cots. There are also tent cots made especially for hunting. These are self-contained tents and sleeping cots built into one unit. They can be quite comfortable, and provide all the advantages of a raised bed and closed tent. And then you got ultralight cots. Ultralight cots provide a comfortable raised bed in just a couple of minutes. These cots fold up very small and are extremely light, which makes them a great option for a good night's sleep on treks or hikes. And then we will do, we got prioritized items of convenience, such as repair kits with additional tools, pre-made tenders and fire extenders, varied cookware such as folding, reflector, ovens, and skillets. So, the cookware you buy, you know, is what you buy. You know what I mean? It's up to you. You know, you definitely want to, you know, pack smart, you know what I'm saying? But Lex will drop this before, you know what I'm saying? If you going, you know what I'm saying, on a journey with, you know, a good set of people, then you got your people that are, you know, carrying the cookware. You know what I'm saying? You got your people that are carrying this. And that's how you keep everything organized. All right? You guys got the lighting sources. You guys got the tools. You guys got the tents. You guys got the cookware. You know what I'm saying? That's how you build a community. You tell me that's not unity? Or would you just rather clock in for work another day? In perpetual servitude forever. Alright, let's do our dismount like this. Tips and tricks, tips and tricks. At the end of each chapter, he has tips and tricks. And if I remember, we will do our dismount on these tips and these tricks. So any handled tool should have a handle of wood for ease of replacement in the field. Again, number one, any handled tool should have a handle of wood for ease of replacement in the field. So if it's a wooden tool, you can replace it, right? This is a tool, but this is not a handle of wood. So if this breaks, you know, it'll be harder to replace. In a pinch, the blade of a bow saw can always be used with a frame saw that you fashioned yourself from natural materials such as wood. Alright, this is for my people that's really paying attention. Number two, in a pinch, the blade of a bow saw can always be used with a frame saw. So the blade of a bow saw can always be used with a frame saw that you fashioned yourself from natural materials such as wood. Number three, save the most precious resources as a last option. For example, never start a fire with a lighter if you can use a ferro rod, and never use a ferro rod if you can use the sun, which is a renewable resource, right? So you don't want to just be like, oh, I got a lighter, I got a lighter. You know, all right, how long is that lighter gonna last, right? So, you know, if you can use the sun, you can use the ferro rod, the materials. You know, we're gonna get into lighting and all this stuff. The guy got thousands of drops, you know what I'm saying? So as we move forward, we'll be able to read it and then see the visual, see something that matches up with what we're talking about for the most part. Opossum mentality. Opossum mentality, he says. O-P-O-S-S-U-M. Opossum mentality is always key. Think like a scavenger. Never pass over unneeded resources thinking that you will run into it again. This is especially true with materials related to fire, food, or medicine. So, you know, when you're out there, you got to learn to be resourceful. You see something that you might be able to use, to the best of your ability to use it. You know what I'm saying? You see how he just peels off different parts of trees as he's passing by, then he uses it later as charcoal or as some type of source of something. He always uses whatever he sees around him, and that keeps you going. All right. Number 5, here's our dismount. Any piece of your kit should be versatile enough that it has at least 3 viable uses. Again, number 5, any piece of your kit should be versatile enough that it has at least 3 viable uses. So anything you got, you know what I'm saying, you should be able to think of another couple of ways to use it, and that's a way of, you know, like you'll find yourself, you know, being more streamlined, packing a little lighter, because you can see multiple ways to use this. Okay, I don't need to carry this because I can use this as this and that. I don't need to carry this because I can use this as this and that. All right, so I love y'all. Hope you enjoyed the survival drop. Definitely subscribe to the cat, man. You know what I'm saying, Dave Canterbury and his Pathfinder joints. You know, check out his joints. He, you know, I'm sure he got a good store up that might have some drop that, or he, you know, he might know where to get some drop. You know what I'm saying? But he got a lot of drop on the materials in terms of different type of cloths and fire making things and stuff that we can definitely get some drop out of. All right, so stay up, suit up, shoes up, get that survival drop.